Buongiorno, Andy. 1-0 exit out of the Carabao Cup quarter-final stage to Championship Brentford. What
Yeah,
did you make of that game? How are you feeling?
well, I think I've calmed down a little bit, but it was truly awful, diabolical, whatever you have to say. We got a bye to the quarter final, effectively, didn't we? We tried to do our best to lose against Blackburn. Blackburn were the better side. Then we played two sides. Hammered one of them, and then scraped through on penalties on the other. So it's effectively an all but name a bye, isn't it, to the quarters? Then we've gotten, other than Stoke, which would have been a tricky game away. Tricky being the word, but it shouldn't be a barrier, really, should it? League Championship opposition lost a couple of their star players from last year. By all accounts, didn't play a couple of their star players from this year. So it's pretty poor, isn't it? And it's going to be a Merry Christmas for Toon fans, because with 3 probably gut-wrenching defeats to follow in the next 3 league games, then we're going to be massively looking over the shoulder, and make no mistake, it's a relegation battle tooth and nail, isn't it?
Do you think so? Do you think we're going to be sucked right into that after the next few fixtures? I mean, like you say, it's not pretty, is it? I mean, under Bruce, Man City and Liverpool are a forfeit, and Leicester doing well as well. So you're probably right, to be fair. What we're now? I mean, how many points were for relegation now? Is it 7, 8, something like that? More than that, maybe 12.
Well, it depends on the next few games. I mean, the Fat Sam effect for West Brom. If you lose against the air sides in and around you, say it like worst doomsday scenario. You lose at the Hawthorns, you lose at the Amex against the likes of Brighton. Lose at Craven Cottage. They come up, they win games, have a good run in the meantime. We're just staring down the barrel. It's, we will. I'm sure we've defied the odds before. We'll win like a couple on the bounce and things look rosy. But in my opinion, there's probably 6 sides that can go down this season. We're definitely one of them. Sheffield United look like they've got too much to do. I mean, they haven't. They're far from the worst Premier League side I've ever seen, but they're losing games, so they're doing something wrong, and it's a bad sign, really, when you look okay and you're still getting beat. So, I think they're doomed, obviously. And certainly if they finish above us, then we're mega doomed, aren't we? There's not going to be 4 teams.
Considering on 2 points at the minute, then
Yeah, so I think they're going to be nailed on for being down, and then it just depends on the Fat Sam effect. 11 points when you've only picked up 7 all season, it's a decent cushion. West Brom got a lot to do. Fat Sam, they've got that stuff and something to go down. So it's probably one of that team, but you look at the other teams then. Against Fulham last game, we were absolutely dreadful. Against 10 men, they looked better. They're on the up. We always just seem to be just a bag full of excuses and some very mediocre players. And then the better players either not being utilised properly, or they just look just a bit downbeat. They just need some inspiration from somewhere, and it's certainly not coming from Bruce.
No, it definitely isn't, because tonight, is Bruce to blame tonight, the cup exit, because he picked the strong enough side? Is it the players on the pitch, or is it a bit of both? Formation, tactics?
You may have answered your own question to some extent. Do you think that was the strongest side or not?
I would say I wouldn't have seen Sean Longstaff play again, because he's fucking useless. I'd rather have Jeff Hendrick there. I'd rather bring Matty in out of the cold. In terms of defence, at least there was 4 at the back, but Yedlin's not good enough either. Neither is Jamal Lewis. Where was Paul Dummett after the other night? I'd probably play Richie at left back, but there was still Callum Wilson on the pitch. There was still Almira on the pitch. There was still Shelby on the pitch with the captain's armband. There was still Hayden there. There was still Dollo there. He didn't play Gillespie or anything, so it's still a good enough side to get through, isn't it?
But Hayden wasn't playing in his right position, or strongest position, and we didn't get through. So I think you've half answered your own question there, to be fair. I think, if that's not the strongest side and people playing in the strongest positions, then he hasn't played the strongest side, so he's to blame.
We didn't have any other centre-back, so there wasn't even a centre-back on the bench, so Hayden had to play in defence, really, didn't he?
Well, you could play Dummett there, could you not, if Dummett's fit?
Well, Dummett's not even on the bench, so where the hell is Dummett? After starting the other day? Is he knackered for another year now? Is that him done?
Well, he's sick note again, who knows? But it's just, the players, they need direction. I mean, football is not the brightest, so and especially if they're being played out of position, then it's not ideal. But it's just that, like, you know, attacking wise today, it's just the norm, isn't it? But you would expect against the lower league opposition, you'd try and give it a bit more of a go, wouldn't you, and not leave it too late. And it was just poor. And but I think it's deja vu, isn't it? Because we get to this point every season where if we do go on a cup run where we play the lower league teams and scrape through like we did last season in the FA Cup, as soon as we come up against anyone half decent or a tough away game, we'll lose anyway. So, and you know, there's no hope or ambition. I mean, for me, that's the season over, and now it's just praying that they stay up. But you know, the people that get waterboarded, are they grateful afterwards when their captor says, "Okay, we're going to give you some air for a minute, mate. We'll be back tomorrow to dip your head in the water again. I might take a great, massive steaming shit before I dip your head in. I'm going to leave you in for 2.5 minutes. You'll be gasping for air, but then I'll hold your nose up just enough so you can breathe." Is that a way to live? I don't think so. I mean, Newcastle fans would follow that team in the fourth tier, to be fair, and you'd probably get, you know, thousands there when you're tens of thousands. But, you know, is it just because people are now brainwashed and indoctrinated sheep or what? Because at the end of the day, Ashley's there, looks like he's there to stay. Field takeovers, there's been takeover talks for years. I mean, if you look at the sort of generation of like late teenagers and people in their early 20s now, this is all they know. And you might have had the flash in the pan, the odd lucky season when basement bargain recruitment works out, but in the long run, it's poor, and something needs to change. Or this is just nobody you talk to in football circles in Newcastle has a smile on their face very often, and even the likes of Geordie Rick now, you know, he am wooing. You know, it might annoy the fuck out of some people, but I like the wooing. The wooing's a sign that Newcastle's doing well, and I don't hear any wooing. I hear booing, but not wooing. I want to hear some wooing.
All right. Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Okay. See you soon, mate.
Have a nice Christmas.
All the best, everybody, and all the best to you, mate. Well,
You too, mate. Cheers.
See you after.